And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics, and now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to the intersection of business and politics right here on Robert Cardoza Live, where I do an honest, unbiased analysis of the issues confronting you today that affect the decisions that you're going to make for both your personal and your business life. I come to you every Monday through Friday on Spreaker Radio, Roar 1776 Radio, and MyCast Live Radio from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time, and also on 405 Media Radio Mondays through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time. Then we're on the Pundit Press, PNN Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with the Conservative Syndicate Mondays and Fridays from 3:30 to 4 p.m. Pacific Time, in addition to countless terrestrial stations worldwide. Please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Periscope Video, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com for archives of all my radio and television shows. You can also access my show live right from my website each day, simply by clicking on that little icon labeled Listen Live. Email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. You can call into my show, by the way. If you want to comment or just engage me in conversation about anything, call in directly to the studio at 909-545-6516. Again, that number, 909-545-6516. Now, on today's show, we're going to discuss what's in the news, new legislation, the IRS loses, and I'm going to answer your emails just like I always do. Now, on today's special segments, Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman's back talking about new wireless deals for the new year. And Ray Mailer will be here continuing his series on the American grid. He's going to be talking about the Great Depression and the effect that it had on chief executives all over the country, and what it, and the effect that it had on business in general. But right now, what I want you to do is I want you to stand by for news. But first off, I want you to know that at 3:03 p.m. Pacific Time, it's currently 52 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, it's sunny. It's liquid sunshine. It's raining cats and dogs. It started raining yesterday. It's going to be raining all week. Now, let me tell you about the 10 things that you need to know for today. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today and probably tomorrow. First off, you guessed it, North Korea says it conducted a successful and powerful H-bomb test. If confirmed, the move would be a huge jump in Pyongyang's quest to improve its still limited nuclear arsenal, but South Korea's spy agency says an A-bomb was more likely. And why Obama's gun moves could prove ineffective. The president's executive actions would have had no impact in keeping weapons from the hands of criminals who used weapons bought by others or bought them illegally. And which scenario the U.S. envisions for Syria? Well, the Obama administration's timeline for political transition in Syria does not foresee Assad stepping down as the country's leader before March of 2017, according to a document obtained by the Associated Press anyway. And who must walk a fine line amid Iranian-Saudi rifts? Well, while many Iraqi Shiites took to the streets in outrage over Saudi Arabia's execution of a Shiite cleric, the country's prime minister has to be cautious, trying to contain Iraq's sectarian tensions. An armed group in Oregon fears a raid. Now, the Harney County Joint Information Center says in a statement that it has no information on arrests or arrest warrants, and that authorities are still working on a peaceful resolution. Well, Israeli-Palestinian wave of violence marked by increased female role. While battling Israel was once a role restricted to Palestinian men and boys, the current slew of attacks sees an unprecedented spike in involvement of women. Well, El Nino ties a record. The current weather pattern pulls even with the 1997-1998 El Nino as the strongest recorded based on temperature measurements in the Pacific. Well, gun buyer in San Bernardino attack faces arraignment. Enrique Marquez Jr. also revealed plots that he and his friend Syed Rizwan Farouk discussed but never carried out to slaughter community college students. Well, Volkswagen execs see the U.S. fixes soon in emissions test cheating. Brand CEO Herbert Diess says that the company is having constructive discussions with the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Finally, will Griffey set a record? Can bonds get a big boost? Fewer than 500 people get a vote, but most every baseball fan seems to have a vehement opinion on who belongs in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, I guess so, right? How about this? Let's talk about North Korea a little bit. You know, condemnation, doubt greet North Korea's H-bomb announcement. North Korea's declaration that it had tested a hydrogen bomb for the first time was greeted with widespread condemnation, but also skepticism. As world powers vowed today to punish the impoverished and defiant nation with new international sanctions, the isolated country's fourth nuclear test since 2006 was a reckless challenge to international norms of behavior and authority of the UN Security Council, said British Ambassador Matthew Rycroft. The Council met in an emergency session and called the test a clear violation of its resolutions. It agreed to start work immediately on a resolution for new sanctions. The international community must respond with steadily increasing pressure and rigorous enforcement of existing measures, said U.S. Ambassador Samantha Power. 4 rounds of UN sanctions have aimed at reining in the North's nuclear and missile development, but Pyongyang has ignored them and moved ahead with programs to modernize its ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons. Well, we'll see what happens. They just seem to be, for the lack of a better term, a thorn in our side, I would say. Well, here's an analysis for you. The calculated risk behind North Korean H-bomb test claim. When North Korea hinted that it had hydrogen bomb last month, twice it was largely brushed off as a bluster. Now that it's claiming to have actually tested one, it's being taken a lot more seriously. In a storm of outrage, alarm, criticism, and threats of sanctions are once again raining down on its head. Mission accomplished? Quite possibly from Pyongyang's perspective. Skepticism remains high over exactly what was detonated on Wednesday, or today I should say. But North Korea's ruling regime is probably the most adept in the world at calculating the benefits and risks of ratcheting up tensions and alienating even its closest allies to get what it wants. And what does it want? That's extremely hard to say, since North Korea's other standout skill is keeping its real motives as murky as possible. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, I'm going to have more news for you. I think we're going to talk about Cruz and Rubio, and they're battling over an undecided low-ones as the undecided low-ones intensify. So we'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So don't go away. We'll be right back, folks.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, They're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And we're talking news. Well, Cruz and Rubio battle over an undecided Lowens intensifies. Let me tell you about that. Marco Rubio and Ted Cruz are fighting for the favor of many of the same undecided voters across Iowa, where even some of the most attentive Republicans say they can't make up their minds less than 4 weeks before voting begins. That was so among Lowens, or Iowans, I should say, not Lowens, who gathered before sunrise to hear Rubio at a town hall style meeting in Cedar Rapids. Now, the Florida senator impressed the crowd, but few left having decided if he would get their vote. I haven't settled on one candidate 100%, said Mike Grover, a 65-year-old Cedar Rapids man who was among the thousands of persuadable voters still up for grabs. It's small towns from Cherokee to Sioux Center. An overwhelming number of would-be voters said that Cruz and Rubio are in contention for their support. Their policies, personalities, and presumed ability to defeat the Democratic nominee in the fall are all under close examination. Donald Trump comes up often as well, as do retired neurosurgeon Ben Carson and New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. At 44 and 45 respectively, Rubio and Cruz are the youngest candidates in the 2016 field and the only Hispanics. So, we'll see what time has to say, right? Well, China holds a key pressing North Korea on nuclear weapons. Diplomatic engagement has failed to stop North Korea's nuclear weapons program. Sanctions have been tightened with little result, and military force could be catastrophic. So, what can the world do? What can the world do? You know what? I lost this phone was ringing. It was somebody that I couldn't take the call on. I'll have to call them back. Anyway, sanctions have been tightened with little result. The military force could be catastrophic. So what can the world do to bring Kim Jong-un's renegade government into line? The answer may rest with China. While Beijing's influence over North Korea appears to have diminished since Kim came to power in 2012, it remains its key trading partner. Experts say China could do more to restrict North Korea's use of Chinese banks and limit supplies of food and fuel to provide an economic lifeline to Pyongyang. Wednesday's purported hydrogen bomb test will intensify pressure on China to tighten the screws on Kim. It has been leery of taking such steps because the fears that a collapse of North Korea's socialist government could cause an influx of refugees and lead to a pro-American unified Korean nation on China's doorstep. So, you know what? We certainly haven't heard the end of it. There's going to be a lot of stuff going on there. The latest, though, experts seek smoking gun for North Korea explosion. The latest on North Korea's announcement that it conducted a hydrogen bomb test today. The head of the UN Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty Organization says its monitors are looking for a smoking gun that will confirm that North Korea carried out a nuclear test and whether it was a hydrogen bomb, as Pyongyang claims. You know what? everybody seems to think that it's not and can't be because of the results of what was actually taking place. It just seemed to be too small. Well, the United States sees Assad staying in Syria until March of 2017. The Obama administration has a vision for Syrian leader Bashar Assad's departure. Even if it works, the president won't be around to see the plan through. An internal U.S. timeline for a best-case scenario, political transition obtained by the Associated Press sets a date for March 2017 for Assad to relinquish his position as president and for his inner circle to depart. That's 2 months after President Barack Obama leaves office and more than 5 years after Obama first called for Assad to leave. Well, you know what? It's just a play. It's a power play. That's all it is. It's just a big power play. But Assad's got to get out of there. Cologne, however, divided over who to blame for the New Year's assaults. Amid widespread shock over a string of sexual assaults in this cosmopolitan German city on New Year's Eve, the response was divided today. Blamed the police for or chide the victims to deport criminal foreigners or prevent migrants from entering the country in the first place. The reaction in Cologne reflects a broader debate as Germany struggles to reconcile law and order with its newfound role as a haven for those seeking a better life. Police descriptions of the perpetrators as of Arab or North American or North African origin were seized on by those calling for an end to Chancellor Angela Merkel's open-door policy toward people fleeing violence and persecution, even as authorities warn they don't know if any of the culprits are refugees. You know, there is no peace in this world. It's just not as happy a place it was that I grew up in. Here, Iraq offers to mediate between Saudi Arabia and Iran. Can you imagine? Iraq today offered to mediate between Saudi Arabia and Iran after tensions soared following the kingdom's execution of a Shiite cleric and attacks on 2 Saudi diplomatic posts in the Islamic Republic. The standoff has seen Saudi Arabia sever diplomatic ties with its longtime regional rival and could hinder efforts to resolve the conflicts in Syria and Yemen, where Riyadh and Tehran back opposite sides, as well as affect the implementation of the Iran nuclear deal. Iraq Foreign Minister Abraham al-Jafari proposed mediation during a news conference in Tehran, but also referred to the execution of Sheikh Nimr al-Nimr as a crime. Saudi Arabia and its allies say al-Nimr was found guilty of terrorism charges and that condemnations of the execution amount to meddling in Riyadh's internal affairs. Well, I have a tendency to want to agree with that, don't you? Sure you do. Now, we're going to go away just for a brief commercial message. Don't you go away, because we're going to be right back with the IRS loses, and it's just timely for tax time. In this particular case, that they lost, they have to repay funds after a refund deadline. I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. Aho Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Oh yeah, here we are, my favorite part of the show, the IRS loses. You know, it sends chills up and down my spine and the hair up on the back of my neck. But let's not waste a lot of time talking about it. Let's just do it. First off, the IRS loses. They have to repay funds after a refund deadline. Let me tell you about it. An estate held property that was involved in a litigation and hard to value. Now, before filing its return or receiving any tax bill, it remitted $165,000 to the IRS to stop penalties and interest from running on any tax that it might have owed. Now, later, it filed a late return showing no tax due, but the IRS said that the deadline for refunding its $165,000 tax payment had passed. The estate said the $165,000 hadn't been a tax payment, but a deposit not subject to the deadline. So they went to court for some justice and satisfaction. This is what the judge said. No tax had been calculated at the time of the remittance, and the IRS's own rules say that an undesignated remittance made before a tax liability is proposed as a deposit. The estate gets its money back, and with interest. Now, that's the way you got it. You got to love this stuff, right? I know I do. How about this? The IRS loses. A wife in a community property state gets credit for all of her withholding. Sounds normal, right? Sounds natural? Well, listen to this. A couple separated after the 8th month of the year and filed separate returns. The husband had income during the 8 months but paid no tax. Under community property rules, the IRS said that half this income was taxable to the wife. She was employed and had $38,354 of tax withheld from her pay, but the IRS credited the husband with $12,785 of it, half of the withholding during the 8 months. She protested, went to tax court. This is what the judge said. The wife was properly taxed on her half of her husband's income, but it was inequitable to deny her credit for tax that she had paid and credit it to the husband who had paid none. So she gets the credit for all of her payments. You know what? That's just fair, right? Just makes sense. The IRS just keeps trying to dig deep in everybody's pockets. Let me give you one more. The IRS loses. Improper deductions do not prove fraud. Now, Carlos Sala invested a large amount in what the IRS said was an illegal tax shelter. It sent a tax bill that he paid, but he then sought a refund of $1.5 million of interest. that the IRS could collect only in fraud cases. This is the IRS's position. The shelter was fraudulent because the deduction it gave were much larger than any amount Sala ever risked losing on his investment in it. He went to court. This is what the judge said. Sala's small risk of loss might make his deductions improper, but fraud requires acts of deceit and concealment from the IRS. Sala had acted openly and even obtained a lawyer's opinion about the shelter's propriety before investing in it. There was no proof of fraud, so the refund is absolutely allowed. You know what? It's just common sense, right? Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS does stuff. Well, that's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. Okay, so these are not tax court cases, but these are positions that the IRS has taken. So they've set a precedent, and you can actually use these to your benefit. If when you need to, as long as you know how to do it properly. You can always use a licensed professional. They're going to help you with this kind of stuff. You know what? Let's talk about a poorly executed estate tax plan that's targeted by the IRS. A cautionary fate here. A cautionary fate here. The professional advice was obtained in an effort to save estate tax, and as a result, a family limited partnership was formed. Now, here's the big problem. Real property was not transferred into the family limited partnership until 2 days before the taxpayer actually died. The IRS contended that the decedent had retained the current economic benefit of the assets transferred to the trust. So, the value of the real estate and other assets of that family limited partnership were therefore included in her taxable estate. Here's the best defense when setting up your own family limited partnership. Make sure that it is established for a legitimate and significant non-tax reason. Then follow all the applicable rules for making sure that the integrity of the family limited partnership will be respected by the IRS. They don't respect much, so you got to make sure you do it right. So always use a professional to get these things done for you. That's going to be your best bet. Now, one more before we take our commercial break. Beware of legal advice from sellers of tax shelters. Just makes sense, but listen to this. A lawyer in Louisiana was held responsible for his part in promoting a tax shelter investments that he knew, or at least should have known, were illegal. The lawyer engaged in wire and mail fraud as part of the scheme to generate exorbitant fees by selling phony tax shelters. The defrauded investors paid more than $1 million in fees for the privilege of investing in the illegal tax shelter. Bad stuff. So it's a self-defense here. Do not trust the advice of a lawyer who also stands to profit from your investment. Seeking independent counsel not associated with the transition makes all the sense in the world, and it's always going to. Now, do not go away, because when we come back, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. He's going to tell us, you know what? New year, new things. He's going to tell us all about it. It's going to be exciting. You wait and see what it is that he's going to be talking about. Don't go away. We'll be right back with Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Leinberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:32 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 52 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in what I'm going to call liquid sunny Southern California. Yeah, it's raining cats and dogs, and animals are lining up 2 by 2 outside the studio here. And my good buddy, Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, is in Torrance, California, where it's 51 degrees, and I think it's raining there too. Hey, Joel, did that stop you from surfing today?
Raining pigs and cows here, and yes, it did stop me.
You know what? We sure need the rain, but I don't know that we need it all at one time, huh?
Well, I don't think we need the pollution out there, and I figured it can't be too healthy, and I didn't want to drink it this morning, and the wind turned on short early, and it made my decision very easy.
So listen, did you have a wonderful New Year, and how were your holidays?
I did, and how about yourself? It was good for me.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. And, it's these are the holidays that are family events, and it just warms your heart and makes you feel good.
Well, I agree with that. My family was in Florida and Paris, France, so it was a little bit lonely out here. But I did nothing and enjoyed doing it.
Well, you know what? Sometimes solitude is a celebration. All of itself.
Well, it worked out well. Yeah. Spent some time with my daughter and my wife, and had some fun.
So I don't suppose.
But back to reality.
Yeah. So I don't suppose anything new has happened since we're all a year older now.
Oh my God, we're a year older, and I don't think we've spoken for a few weeks. And the last we spoke, we were talking satellite service.
Yeah.
And there has been quite a bit of new stuff, actually. We know that the Consumer Electronics Show is going on right now, CES.
But do you ever go to that, Joel?
I quit going to that about a dozen years ago when all the major carriers and major manufacturers stopped going. I think Samsung and maybe Panasonic still goes, but Apple doesn't go, never did. Mitsubishi, all the big companies just stopped going, and it became more accessories and third-party stuff, and really, I wasn't gleaning a lot from the wireless industry, so I stopped going. I have colleagues that go, and they fill me in.
Well, you know what? It's interesting, a lot of the stuff that's going on today. I find myself interested in some of the new things that are coming out. We just recently sold our home, and we're moving right on a golf course. So it's going to be really nice if the rain stops. And
nice.
But I was contemplating. They have FiOS where I'm going, and they have both 100 megabytes per second and 150 megabytes per second. Is there really much of a difference between that? And should I consider one over the other?
Well, I would see what the cost difference is, and what I would also determine if they have FiOS out there is I'd find out who the cable company is out there as well. And if it's Time Warner, then I could probably help you out. But it'd be interesting to compare. Generally, FiOS is fantastic, but they don't give it away. You pay more for it, but speeds are good, reliability is good. I find Time Warner to be the best value as far as speeds per dollar.
Well, they have. Apparently, Verizon has a package. It's $99 for 100 megabytes per second, plus I think it's like 300 stations on their television service thing. Plus
for how long before it goes up?
A year, 1 year, and then it goes up $20.
Well, $20 isn't bad. Not the end of the world.
Yeah.
FiOS is great. Everybody I know that has it likes it. They just don't give it away, but a good service.
Oh, okay. That's good to know.
Very good service.
But is there a big difference between 100 megabytes per second and
No. 100 is lightning fast.
Okay.
I think I've got maybe 30. I think I've got 50 with my wireless carrier. 100 is screaming fast.
Okay, so I
don't. It's like 4K TV. If the programming is primarily 1080p, you could get 4K, but you're really not going to see a whole lot of difference because there isn't a lot of content. Same with the speeds. You're going so fast at 100. I don't think 150 megabits per second you're going to see any difference.
Okay, so it's not worth the extra $50 they want for it.
50, but I wouldn't. You can always upgrade later if you want. I don't think you'll notice it. You'll be going faster than you ever did.
Oh yeah, because I've only got about 50 megabytes per second now.
Yeah, well, I figure going twice as fast, you'll be happy. So I would do the 100.
Okay, sounds good. Listen,
did you hear about what happened with Uber over the holidays?
No, tell me about it.
Well, apparently they have some kind of I don't know what they call it, but it's something that estimates fares, and what they do is during prime times they boost the cost of their fares.
Oh, really?
And they have a calculator. It's an estimator, and for some reason, normally, let's say New Year's Eve, you want to ride, and it's normally going to be $10. Well, it could be $100.
Whoa!
What you have to do is you have to calculate, and they have an estimator. But for some reason, in a couple of cities, and I know New York and Boston, I think was the other one, the calculator was not. It was too hard to find. It was not in the normal place. So people were ordering rides and then getting picked up and being charged $300 where it would normally be $30.
Wow.
So there was a lot of controversy right now about their estimator not working. Some people said it wasn't working. Some people couldn't find it. But the fact is, they got some bad press because they were multiplying nearly 10 times the cost of a ride over the holidays.
Are they not making enough money with this new concept that they've got going? I mean, they're opening up and expanding heads over heels. Aren't they making enough money without gouging everybody because it's a holiday?
Well, the interesting thing is, I did some research on that. They are killing, but they are not the only game in town. And they could be, but Lyft is doing very well. Now, Lyft is in the U.S. and maybe one or two other countries possibly, where Uber's in 60 countries. So Uber's enormous in terms of size. But they're leaving the door open for Lyft. Lyft is doing some stuff that, they encourage people to give their fares a fist bump when they greet them and to let them ride in front and, to be a little more personable. So they're doing some interesting things Uber isn't doing. I've taken both. I prefer Lyft. So when I have both apps on my iPhone, I call Lyft when I need a fare, and I've had nothing but good experiences with them.
Well, that's good to know.
So if you ever wanted to, give them a try. Speaking of being everywhere, I don't know if you heard about Netflix. Netflix is virtually everywhere now.
Well, I actually use Netflix, and you're gonna laugh. I loved the House of Cards, and of course they're on a sabbatical right now. But so I was looking for something else. So do you remember the old series West Wing?
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm watching now, and I'm back into it, and, I'm just loving it. And it's on Netflix, so that's what I'm watching.
Well, the funny thing about Netflix is they started this stuff with the House of Cards, which, Kevin Spacey is brilliant. Mm-hmm. He put them on the map as far as I'm concerned, as far as credibility. I have seen 3 or 4 or 5, Downton Abbey is wonderful.
Yeah.
What was the other one I just saw that was fantastic? I forgot the name of it. It was Illegal, or I forgot what it was. But there's another really good one about kind of a James Bond dude, who's got a million aliases. But there's so many good series, and you think you're watching a movie, and then you find out it's a series, and it's like, oh wow, this is great.
But you know what
I love Netflix. Amazon is also fabulous. I have them too.
Yeah. You know what's great about it is if you want to sit down and just do them all over a weekend, you can actually do that. They're all right there for you. You don't have to wait 1 week to the next. You can just do one after another, do a marathon if you want to.
Actually, you sit down, and if you don't do anything, it says next one starting in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So you just sit there, go get yourself a soft drink or a cup of coffee, and come back, and the new one is starting. You don't even have to touch your remote. So it's an amazing platform. It's in Vietnam now. It's they're going everywhere, right? They're not yet in China, but I'm betting that they're going to be pretty soon. They're in the Middle East. They're in Asia. They're in Europe, and they're making ground. People love the service.
Yeah. It's just, I guess you were talking about this not that long ago, how our entertainment options have really, really changed, and everybody is more internet available now, and I think that the internet's just going to take over everything for us. I mean, that's how we do our travel, that's how we do our entertainment, that's how we look up things that way. I'm looking up at an old set of the Encyclopedia Britannica that I bought, probably 50 years ago. You'd never open it. Matter of fact, it's so obsolete that it doesn't even have Neil Armstrong in it. So
well, hold on to it. It may be worth something.
Yeah. So but everything is internet, and not just the desktop or your laptop or your iPad. I'm shocked at how much I use my iPhone internet services.
Well, it's the future, and that's what's happening at CES, and that's one of the reasons I didn't go. CES this year is all about the Internet of Things. Yeah. You can buy a washing machine that will they've got washing machines that have Amazon's Dash built in that will allow you, they'll tell you when you're out of soap and order it automatically for you. They have a washer and a dryer where the same machine, you can do your wash and dry in the same tub, and it's connected to the internet. But everything is Internet of Things. They have refrigerators connected to the internet. Everything now is really being connected to the internet. So, some of this stuff is good and some of it's a little bit ridiculous, but what can you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So we got about a minute and 10 seconds before we're going to move on to a commercial break. Sounds like you need to take a deep breath. You're coming under the weather here, it sounds like, Joel.
Well, my wife has been sick and I've been fighting it, but I feel good.
Well, that's good.
But I do feel good. Looking bad, but feeling good.
I don't know. I see some of those pictures of you enjoying the good old sunny beaches, and even when it's not so sunny, and sometimes become a little envious. And I'm an old son of a gun, so in any event,
well, come on over to the beach sometime. But anyhow, before we run out of time, www.drwireless.com. Most of the material that we're going to cover today will be on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless, and it also is in our blog, DR Wireless, and just click on the blog. I can be reached at joel@drwireless.com.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic. Listen, we're going to be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, after these brief messages. Don't go away, folks. You don't want to miss what Joel has to say here.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The interview starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful in visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you've got the microphone, my friend.
Well, one of the things, Robert, that I wanted to point out is, and this is kind of strange, as you know, I haven't been very bullish on Verizon in the past. I've always felt they have the most reliable network in the U.S., but I had reservations about recommending them, just because I didn't think they were good at disclosing their plans and the fine print, and seemed like a lot of hidden stuff that you had to know about. And as you know, they came out with these new plans, very simple, very transparent, and very easy. It's like buying an ice cream cone or a t-shirt. You order small, medium, large, or extra, extra large, and that is your data. And then you, depending on how many smartphones you have, you know, if you've got 2 smartphones, then you have to add in the 2 smartphones to the cost of the data. But the point I'm making here is anybody can offer these new plans, and everybody does, but for some strange reason that I have not yet figured out, Dr. Wireless exclusively can offer these plans with the old contracts. If you go to a Verizon store, they will not offer these new plans with contracts. You might ask, why would you want a contract? Well, if you know that the carrier you're going with is going to get it done, and you know you're going to be with them for 2 years, as most people are, and you know they're going to give you a $450 credit, and you know they're going to give you a $150 port-in credit if you come in from another carrier, it makes it worthwhile. The only negative on these plans was if you didn't do your upgrade, 24 months in, you were paying more because they're bundling the cost of the upgrade into the plan. Well, the difference here is you pay $40 per device if you go on the contract versus $20 per device if you take the month-to-month plan and don't get the subsidy or the contract. So not just the $450, but the other good argument for getting a contract plan is these carriers change their plans all the time. If you're on a 2-year plan, you finish it, you're now month-to-month, they're not going to pull the rug underneath you and change the terms on your plan. And proof of that is you've got all these people with unlimited Verizon plans they've had for years. Verizon hasn't offered an unlimited plan for over 3 years. But anybody who still stayed with that plan still has it. Now, if you're on a month-to-month plan, they will take it away. They'll say you got 2 gigs instead of unlimited. There's nothing you can do. So they don't change contract plans even once they revert to monthly. So to make a long story short here, Dr. Wireless has a fantastic deal for your listeners today. Anybody who wants Verizon, I got the best of both worlds. I got the new transparent plans, and I got the old contracts with the $450 instant credit. So you want a $650 iPhone, it's $199. You own the thing, and it's not one of these lease deals where you never own it. So quite an offer.
Let me ask you this, Joel. When you're talking about Verizon and you're talking about the cell phone package, do they also offer a package that's totally inclusive? It's the cell phone, the home phone, the internet, the TV, the whole 9 yards, or they pretty much separate the cell phone from that?
Well, they do. If you work with the Verizon directly, you can get that. I generally don't recommend that. We've talked about bundles, and, bundles can be good for the first year, but bundles are a problem because if you end up having a beef with your company, you got a beef with all of your services. If something goes out, everything goes out, and I just don't like to put all my eggs in one basket. I haven't seen a good enough bundle for me to do that.
Gotcha.
I like to work with each company and take the best that each company has to offer. Give you a perfect example. I'm a Time Warner business class partner. I work for them, and I have Time Warner in my home. I don't have Time Warner's digital phone service. I have Vonage. Why? Because Vonage is $10 cheaper per month and allows me to call 60 countries for free. Time Warner is free nationwide.
Gotcha.
So you take the best that each company has to offer. Although I would take a look at your bundle. Once you give me all your info on your bundle, and we'll analyze it for you.
All right, sounds great.
Now, you know how I'm always harping about unlimited plans and why you should have an unlimited plan?
Yep.
Did you hear about this kid who just got hit with a $2,000 bill because of Wi-Fi assist?
I did.
Remember that feature?
Yeah.
There's a new feature on the iPhones, and what it does is if you have a weak 4G signal, it automatically switches your phone to Wi-Fi. Well, this poor kid didn't read, the RPSA on Wi-Fi assist, obviously, because he's in San Francisco. He's apparently in a weak area, and he had a $2,021.07 bill because he used 144 gigabytes of data. And it turns out the kid's bedroom is the weakest part of the house, so the Wi-Fi would kick in automatically, and he didn't know it.
Wow.
So, until he got his bill. Now, if he had an unlimited plan with Sprint or T-Mobile, as we offer them, this wouldn't be an issue. Right now, he's fighting with these folks, and looks like there's a $5 million class action suit against Apple over that feature.
Holy cow.
So, now, more about Apple. I don't know if you heard about this, but there's a rumor that Apple may be doing away with the standard 3.5 millimeter jack for headphones and coming out with their own proprietary style.
Oh, come on. Really?
If they do that, I will drop Apple and I will buy a Galaxy Samsung. I am so furious with their proprietary crap. You can fill a landfill with all of these headset devices.
Yeah.
And anybody who went out and spent $300 for these Beats headphones or Bose or Harman, all these fancy brands that are $200, $300, $400, those things are obsolete if Apple changes their jack. So don't know if this is true. I've been seeing some rumors that on the iPhone 7 this is going to happen. There's already a huge outcry about this, and I'm going to keep my eye on it. But I suspect they may have to change directions on this. People are getting very, very angry.
You know, that would actually make me change my loyalties of companies too. I've got a lot of Apple products, but I would absolutely, that would make me change because, I'm sick of this stuff.
Well, I already changed. I had the same issue, Robert. I had Sony Ericsson. I had a couple of devices, a T28. I had a P900, and they required a different type of headset jack with two little legs that would plug in and they would break. And I had all these great headsets I couldn't use, and because they were no longer compatible. And somebody made it like an adapter, which was a piece of junk.
Yeah.
And I just said, you know what? I'm done with Sony, and I never bought another product. And now I feel like Apple may be going the same route. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope they change their mind if I'm right. But this is something to keep an eye on. People are not happy.
Okay, 20 seconds before we go to commercial.
All right. Again, all this stuff is on on www.drwireless.com. It's on Facebook /drwireless. And you can also click our blog. Any questions? Joel at drwireless.com.
Fantastic. Boy, this time went by fast. Hey, Joel, thank you so much. It's great to have you back. Good to hear your voice. Stay safe, stay happy, make everybody's life that you're in better because you're in it. And we'll talk to you next week.
Likewise, Robert. Thank you much.
All right, buddy. Now, don't go away, everybody. When we come back from this commercial break, we're going to be with our own Ray Mailer as he continues the American Grid. He's going to be talking about the Great Recession and how it affected CEOs around the country. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It is currently 52 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. We're going to introduce right now our own Ray Mailer. Ray will be with us in just 1 second.
And now, from the National Archives of Public Planning, located in the basement of his Long Beach Reference Library, the unappreciated but widely acknowledged expert on past, present, and future infrastructure planning, let's welcome Mr. Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
All right, we're here with our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. Good to have you back. You're back from Michigan, right, Ray?
Yes, that's right, Bob. And yeah, it's good to be back. Really good to be back. I hope you enjoyed your holidays.
You know what? We had a fantastic time. You know, these are my favorite holidays, Ray. I love I suppose you would refer to these as the eating holidays, right? I have no idea how many pounds I've gained and lost and gained back again. But basically, boy, it was wonderful. The whole family gets together, and it's just a wonderful time of year. And of course, unlike you, we didn't have any snow or freezing or anything going on, but we had a great time. How about yourself?
Well, I wish I could say we had a lot of snow. We actually had some unusual weather back east. I kind of traveled from Chicago to Pennsylvania to Michigan, and in all places it was a balmy 50 or 60 degrees and kind of rainy, but it was actually warmer there than here.
Well, that just goes to prove there's no global warming, is there?
No, not at all. But it is proving my own theory of the impact of El Nino, which is El Nino, as we're experiencing right now, promotes quite a bit of rain here in California, but it also makes for a very mild winter in the upper Midwest.
Well, that's interesting. I didn't realize that, but I'll tell you, like you and like anybody else in California, I'm celebrating El Nino right now. We've needed this rain so bad. Unfortunately, I don't think we needed it at this rate of this fast. And we're going to need this kind of rain for a number of years to get the aquifers back where they need to be. But boy, it sure makes me happy to see it, doesn't it? You?
It certainly does. This rainy season, it is my favorite season of the year here in Southern California. I like the rain. I like how it makes things green. I like the rain itself. It actually encouraged me to. I just wanted to go take the dog for a walk. Well, you know what?
It just seems like it cleans it cleans the trees, the leaves, the flowers, the air. Everything is just crisp. I love it.
Oh, yeah. And, as soon as this rain is over, which directions are we going to be looking? Toward the mountains.
Yeah. Matter of fact, we had a little bit of a break. I live right at the base of the mountains, and the snow is up there, boys, and it's beautiful.
Boy, I look forward to a clear view, and I wonder if it might happen tomorrow. So, I'll have a sharp eye out for Mount Baldy and all the mountains.
Well, our forecast out here is rain through Sunday, so I think it's going to be a bit overcast. We'll probably be able to see it depending on how high the clouds are, but it is beautiful. It's wonderful.
Indeed.
So listen, we're going to talk about the Great Recession and the effect it had on chief executives. What a great subject today.
Yeah. I came across an op-ed piece in the paper that the piece itself, was interesting, but it covered something that's it kind of always been of great interest to me, and that's been kind of evolution and swapping that occurs between our political parties, and that may sound strange, and there may be people who think, "Oh, my party has always held this particular position," and it's not exactly true. And one of the things that kind of pointed it out to me was I'm kind of or have been a regular reader of presidential biographies, and in part because I'm interested in the presidents, but also because you get a good dose of U.S. history while you're at it. Mm-hmm. To learn about what's going on. And two that I want to compare were Abe Lincoln and FDR. Lincoln was a Whig who joined what became the new Republican Party as the Whigs folded. And FDR, as we know, is a Democrat. Well, the interesting thing is to compare Lincoln's aspirations as a Whig with FDR's New Deal. Back in the Whig days, the Whigs supported what were called internal improvements, and today we call that public infrastructure. But internal improvements involve mostly transportation initiatives funded and paid for by the federal government, and this collected a lot of support of generally the business interests. A little bit more conservative, definitely business-oriented goal, and FDR, in the end, uses the same public infrastructure several decades later for a labor-oriented goal. And the answer to this kind of lies in the background of FDR's election and its linkages to the Great Depression. So anyway, I already talked about internal improvements in the 19th century were viewed as desirable for business because they provided communication and a means to transport goods, opening new markets. And tied with this was the laissez-faire approach to business. Mm-hmm. The Whigs and later Republicans supported core infrastructures, usually in transportation, with which to build their businesses. So business was supporting a centralized federal role for infrastructure. Now, let's see. And I myself, I guess. People in the U.S. In the late 19th century seemed to live with kind of normal business cycles and occasional financial panics without any government-provided safety net. And they were fully prepared, or so it appears, to accept periods of unemployment. And this also might not have been such a big deal when a greater percentage of people were independent business people, such as family farmers or family store owners. But the industrialization that happens in the late 19th century sets the stage for having a lot of eggs in one basket. Many employees who are really just a small part in large industrial operations that hadn't existed earlier in the century. So, there was unrest associated with this, and anarchists were, roving around during this time, and these anarchists were probably the cause of what might have been the greatest fear among business people at the time. Anyway, eventually one of these business cycle dips gets so big that it prompts the election of a completely different kind of president in Franklin Roosevelt. It's hard to imagine this, but national unemployment was 25%.
This is after the recession? Or during the recession, I mean?
Yeah, this is during the Depression. So, as it reaches, peaks at 25% is, stubbornly in the high teens. FDR ran on and acted on a mandate to just get people working, as a source not only of economic activity, but also, I think he recognized people's identities and their sense of self-worth. It was really kind of tied in with, I guess kind of the emotional health of the nation. Mm-hmm. So, and he is known for bold, persistent experimentation, that led to evolving one of the purposes behind a public infrastructure project, employment. So with this evolution, Franklin Roosevelt leads the Democratic Party to co-opting one of the purposes of infrastructure, which is maintained to this day. So public infrastructure was initially supported by business interests as a good thing to have central federal authority. Evolves by the 1930s into this is also good for labor, also good for keeping people employed. And you and I can remember recently, President Obama seeking approval of $800 billion in infrastructure spending back in 2008 and 2009, seeking shovel-ready projects.
Yes.
He wasn't necessarily interested in employing highly educated lawyers and engineers and real estate professionals required to get public projects through the approval and design processes, but he wanted to get the lesser skilled folks who do the building of the projects. And and that was recognized by many people as a good, as something good. So anyway, pretty much since this time of Roosevelt, business and labor seem to have this sometimes uncomfortable alliance to support a centralized federal role for public infrastructure. So I thought that was something interesting. What had been a conservative interest evolves to become also a liberal interest.
Well, it seems to me politically, it seems like the conservative and the liberal side, they've done a yo-yo back and forth yin and yang thing ever since I can remember. You started off believing in the liberal platform, and then all of a sudden, as you look back, you're saying, well, wait a minute. I think that platform I used to like is now a conservative platform, and then now it's doing a 180 again. I'm not so sure how that's manipulated, but they seem to be changing names. And of course, right now, not to get you off into a political structure, but it just seems to me like the Conservative Party is imploding at this point. They appear to be doing everything in their power to do away with all of the support and the members that they have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the party is looking like it's having some trouble right now. Having trouble getting around, a single presidential or strong presidential contender.
Yeah.
It's having a lot of difficulty doing that. And I wonder that this is another thing, is maybe to start drawing some comparisons with the Whig Party that fell apart and gave rise to the Republican Party.
Yeah.
The Republican Party seems to have lost. It was really, like many parties, it was a real cobbling together of things, because, the Republicans at their formation in around 1856 successfully brought in many of the Whig interests, which today might be considered business interests, and combined them with, many people were derisively called radical Republicans for wanting to abolish slavery.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, those two interests brought together into the same group, I'm sure that came with certain frictions. But then again, business tends to have a very different perspective. I mean, business's goal is successful business.
Oh yeah,
and can be pretty or not care so much about an issue like slavery one way or the other. Nowadays with the lens of our current history and knowledge, we say, of course, that should have been brought to an end. But at the time, it was controversial.
Yes.
And had always been a source of friction within the country, from the start, right after the revolution.
Well, it's going to be interesting, because it seems to me like we're right on the cusp of another revolution of sorts, and it'll be interesting to see what the outcome is and what the perspective of the citizens who vote do. Unfortunately, only about a third of the qualified citizens actually vote, and the other 70% or so just complain and stick their heads in the sand, and nothing gets done. I'd love to see what's going to happen this year. I'm thinking there's an awful lot of people that probably haven't even signed up to vote or registered to vote that are thinking that this is probably one of the most exciting runs for the presidency that I can recall.
Yeah. When you think about it, on the Republican side, the field is wide open. Even the Democratic side is a little bit open.
Yeah.
But definitely on the Republican side, it seems reminiscent of the Democratic position in 1992. Yeah. At least as the election cycle started, it appeared that there was a strong Republican candidate, and that created a broad field of candidates, and everybody kind of wondering, well, which, if any of these, are going to be viable. And through that process, Bill Clinton emerges.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking to myself, I'm looking at the I don't know how many are there now, 15, 14 Republican candidates right now. Some of them have negative polls. Some of them have even polls. A number of them only have 2 or 3% or 4%. You've got the top 2 or 3 guys that are holding about 60% in the polls, and you're wondering why the heck are everybody splitting the votes to kill their own opportunities to get an opportunity to try and get into the White House? The truth is the Republican Party had better get behind somebody, stop splitting the votes. I'm not so sure that there wasn't some kind of a collusion going on between the Clintons and Trump to do exactly that, split the votes so that the Republicans couldn't win the White House.
Seems a little reminiscent of the Ross Perot issue.
Yeah, sure does. Sure does.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm pretty sure that this is not the direction you wanted to go into, so I apologize.
No. Well, it's not an area I claim a lot of expertise. But it is, but it is an important issue. I do try to focus as much as possible, although it's tough to get news about it, on our local officials, because in very quiet ways, those local officials have much more influence over what happens close to home than what happens at a federal or even state level. Especially in a big state here like California.
Well, doesn't it? But here's the thing: where you and I are very concerned about water, we're very concerned about infrastructure, we're very concerned about the lackadaisical non-functioning Congress that we have in Washington, D.C. I don't understand whatever happened to politics. Politics has become a bad word where, the definition, in my mind at least, of politics was negotiation. Neither side agreed 100% with the other side, but you generally could always find some common ground that you could agree on and put something forth to move you forward. Well, you know what? That's not where we're at today. If you're a Republican, you're going to drop dead before you do anything that a Democrat wants, and vice versa is true too. So what happens to our government and the people that are supposed to be represented by it?
Yeah, what seems to be missing are perhaps strong congressional leaders like a Henry Clay or Daniel Webster, to kind of bring the cats together around certain principles and grand compromises. They seem to be missing, although I have been holding out some hope for Paul Ryan. Yeah. He seems to have a certain amount of charisma and a certain amount of common sense to kind of, put together that solution that allows us to move forward while probably has most of us grumbling a little bit.
Well, the one thing though is what you're not seeing, what we saw all the time, is that the speaker has always been on the forefront. Ryan doesn't seem to be in the news an awful lot. I think he's doing an awful lot of work behind the scenes trying to make things happen. He's not, I don't think he's so interested in making everybody happy. I think he's interested in giving everybody a little bit of what they want to make things work again.
Yeah, and that sounds like a probable formula for success. Yeah. And you don't have to do it in front of the news cameras.
That's right. You know what? I forget who it was. I think it was Zig Ziglar, but I'm not really sure. That said that if you really want to be successful, you have to forget about who gets the credit for it.
Yeah, I've heard that a number of times. Exactly. Yeah, if you can create a culture, and maybe Paul Ryan will be good about this by being the one in the lead and saying, I don't really care who gets credit because I don't care if I get credit. Yeah. Let's just put together a deal that's going to work for your constituencies, at least decently so.
Yeah, that makes all the sense in the world. Hey, listen, we got to go on a commercial break. When we come back, let's do a water update. What do you think?
Sounds very good.
All right, we're talking to our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. We're going to go away for a short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to get a report from Ray on what's going on with the water situation. So don't go away. We'll be right back with Ray Mailer and his American Grid.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're talking to our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid. Hey, Ray, what's going on with the water situation in sunny, I guess liquid sunny, Southern California?
Yeah, that's right. It's a little bit gray today, has been for a few days, and we're thrilled to see it. But part of resolving our drought issue includes both the rains coming down and the snows packing up in the Sierras, but also requires us to reduce our usage, which I'm sure many of the listeners know. The state set mandatory requirements back in June, and we do have our performance for November. It looks like our 411 local water districts reduced our usage in December by over 20%. It might sound a little bit shy of the 25% that the governor has set, but there's a little bit of reasoning behind that. Our cumulative reduction is still at over 26%. So we're still on target to meet the governor's goal. In fact, we're at as of November, we reached 84% of our goal to save 1.2 million acre feet by February of this year.
Wow.
So, if I read that correctly, I think we are ahead of the goal here.
So that coupled with El Nino, if it becomes decent, actually sets us on the track, on a good track for California, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we're doing things just like a good business. We're reducing our consumption or expenses while increasing our revenues or our rainfall.
Yeah.
So we're getting a good spread there between expenses and revenue, or rainfall and water savings.
So I might not have to move out of the state.
No. Yeah, in fact, when I really think about this and look at the economics of it, I don't think this is really, our water drought is not, at least at this stage, is not a survival issue or having enough water to drink or flush a toilet. It's really an economic issue, because if water were to become truly scarce, and truly it would become expensive, then that becomes an inhibitor to people locating here.
Yeah.
And growth is an important part of this state, an important part to its economy. So this is great news. We're all figuring out how to get along with less water. We're happy to see more coming our way, and I hope this is going to turn out to be a nice wet winter.
Yeah.
And
I was watching the news today, and they're talking about the El Nino being right on track, and in the fact that it was expected, it was hit. They're not sure that it's going to be as severe as what they originally had forecast. But it was interesting that when you came on the air this afternoon, that you mentioned the effect that El Nino has. It's a different effect in the Midwest and the East than what it is here in the West.
Yeah, indeed. In fact, just a little point in time, and I don't know what impact this might have to to climate change theories, but I remember 1982. We in Chicago, where I lived, we had a very warm Christmas. It was 60 degrees, just like this year. And that was also the year that Southern California suffered from what turned out to be a big El Nino. Meteorologists didn't really understand El Nino at the time, and you may remember this better than me because I didn't live here, but I understand that those storms were a big surprise. They knocked down a couple of piers. We had, extensive flooding in coastal areas. It was a really big surprise to Southern California to get so much rain.
Well, when I was a young man, when I was a little boy, it seemed like California had more severe weather on a cyclical basis. I mean, you knew that the winters were going to have a lot of rain and a lot of storms and a lot of stuff going on, and it happened every year. And then that kind of reversed itself, and we had these really hot summers and things going. And now perhaps we're going to do a 180 and back to the severe winters again. When I say severe winters, wet, not cold.
Well, that would be a great development, in part because this is my favorite season in Southern California, but also just for the state's health, environmental health. That sounds excellent. If we could, regularly have rains like this, that'd be great.
Oh yeah. Now you were talking about growth, and I could look it up, but I haven't. But do you any idea what the growth rate is in the state of California?
Economic or population?
Population.
Yeah, population. I heard several weeks ago, I think we came in just a little bit shy of 40 million. I think we passed 39 million people residing in the state.
Wow.
And I was, a little surprised to see that, but, it's been forecast for such a long time. I remember taking a look, basically as I was trying to decide whether I was going to stay permanently in Southern California, I took a look at, long-term sorts of information, and the forecast as of the early 90s was for the population to increase by 50% in the next 30 years. And that is right on track.
Well, the interesting,
that's exactly what's happening.
When I was in private practice and people were talking about, when they were selling their homes and doing stuff because the prices of homes had escalated and people were trying to take their equities out and they were moving to lower cost of living states and things like that. And I used to tell them, if you move out of California, you're never going to be able to come back because you won't be able to afford to come back. The thing is that how is it with California and it's a high cost of living in California. And of course now with the water and all the things that are going on and the jobs, how is it that we keep growing in population with all these challenges that are there? Are we growing in population in an industrial area, in a technological area? Or are we doing it on a labor area? What any idea where that's coming from?
Let's see. What is technology is definitely still growing here. That's and entertainment. I think the state is still led by technology and entertainment industries as the major employments, the major businesses that happen here. And then you get a lot of support entities like banking and legal services and consulting services to support those businesses. And then it is just a very broad-based economy. It has been for many decades with many types of business. I believe Southern California still has a larger manufacturing base, believe it or not, than any other metropolitan area in the country. One of those little-known secrets. There are not huge manufacturing plants like in the Detroit area where Ford or GM, may employ many thousands of people in one place. But there's a very well developed smaller version, kind of mid and small size manufacturing concerns. Well, I got to imagine that provides a lot of stability to the economy here.
And when I was young, California was referred to, or at least the San Joaquin Valley was referred to as the breadbasket of the nation. Is that still the case, or because of the water problems, is agriculture taking a dip?
No, the agriculture is still a very, very strong part of California's economy. It's huge. From some previous show, I thought it was estimated around 30 or 40 billion a year just in the state. But it's worth paying attention to what is grown here. In some of the upper Midwest, crops like wheat and corn and soybeans, that's what they grow there in tremendous quantities. Mm-hmm. California specializes in the fruits and the nuts and the vegetables, mm-hmm. and supplies them, as I'm sure you could guess, to the world. And it has a tremendously strong agricultural economy. And tying this back into infrastructure, one of the little teaspoons of sugar that FDR dealt to California business interest is early in his presidency, as he's trying to get the New Deal off the ground, he initially offered federal support for water projects that directly benefited California agricultural interests. And that's what contributed to what the current kind of mix we have of federal water projects, state water projects, and local water projects. Each, chipping in a ton of money at different times in history. So,
not does that, but that water is, I was going to say exclusive, and I probably shouldn't say that, but it's exclusive to the necessity for the growth and the health of the state, right?
Yes. And the state is the beneficiary of a federal water project that is located entirely within the state. It's a little bit, precedent may have been set with the Erie Canal in New York in the 1820s. The state tried to set it up at a time when federal participation was very controversial. The state thought it was big and strong enough to go ahead and fund the thing itself. Ran into trouble. Eventually, federal participation was brought in. I think that set a precedent. That still plays in U.S. policy decisions.
So it begs a question, and that is that I remember when I was younger that the state of California, they referred to themselves as having the 5th largest economy in the world, and now the rate that I see is the 8th largest economy in the world. Have we fallen back, or have other economies just grown?
I don't know. Probably a little both. I would hardly say that California's economy is weak. It's very strong. Mm-hmm. So I would guess to say, probably the other economies that moved into positions 5, 6, and 7 were strong ones.
Yeah, the 8th largest economy in the world. That's not a bad number. It's just that going from 5th to 8th is a little concerning.
Yeah, a little concerning. Although I always took a little bit of pride knowing back when we were 5th that I guess number 6 was France. I kind of thought, we're just a state.
That's the key thing is economy in the world. You're right. We are not a country. We are a state, and a very important one at that. So even when you say 8th, it's still a big deal. You think about if we're the 8th largest economy in the world, how many countries take a second seat to us?
Oh yeah, I mean, considering there are 170 countries or so,
Yeah.
that would mean, seems to me there are 162 countries behind us.
Yeah, well, some of them I'm not even going to bother counting.
Right, yeah.
So
yeah,
listen,
exactly.
how about let's talk about real fast. We've only got a few minutes left. Anything new on the high-speed rail?
I have not picked up any new news on high-speed rail. Call it a holiday lull. I just let that train run down the track by itself.
Well, how about new sports events taking place in Los Angeles? Man, it looks like we could wind up with 5 or 6 teams here.
Yeah. The way things are looking in the NFL, we'll go from 0 to 3 all at once.
Yeah. I mean, this is amazing stuff. And you think about the economy, you think about the recession, you think about all the things going on, and how tough money is to get. And now the Feds are getting ready to raise interest rates, or have actually raised them a little bit, and they're going to do it again. Where do these billions of dollars come from for these teams? If for an NFL team to move. Just to move, it's a $500 million deal. They got to write a check for $500 million just to move from one place to another.
That's right, and that's after you build the stadium.
Yeah. So it's just amazing kind of stuff going on. So if you think, and we've been talking about the economy, we've been talking about the growth in California. Of course, right now we're really talking about Los Angeles. Somebody must be seeing something if they want to move these teams, because this is big business, these teams, and very profitable, obviously. And they want to move them into not just California, but the Los Angeles basin.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing, granted, sometimes big people make big mistakes, but there are a lot of smart people who have long track records of business success who are really all angling for getting into this market. Both people around the country, those who would move here, as well as a lot of local folks here. I imagine there are some people who would just throw in out of excitement or more of an emotions-based decision. But I got to believe, just as you're saying, there are a lot of strong numbers behind these teams' proposed moves to the LA area.
Well, I got to tell you, I agree with you 100%. And besides which, this has been a really, really interesting session. You and I, we are out of town. Time to go to for a commercial. I look forward to talking to you next week. Any idea what we're going to be talking about?
No, but I will. I'll dig up something on high-speed rail. So I've got some current info for you, and I'm not sure what else.
Well, I've got some things in mind. So we'll be talking to our own Ray Mailer and his American Grid next week at this same time. Ray, it was a great show. Go out and have a wonderful evening. Have a safe trip. Take it easy on your way home, because it's wet and slippery and dangerous out there. But you know what? Make everybody happy and make everybody feel better, because you're in their lives.
Thank you, Bob. I'll be sure to do that.
All right, everybody else, do not go away. After this commercial message, we're going to be back with the birthdays for today, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back after these brief messages. Don't go away.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:41 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 51 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny, liquid sunny Southern California. If it's raining cats and dogs, the animals are lining up 2 by 2 outside the studio here. But it's certainly a welcome rain. We sure need it. Well, you know what? Let's get right to it. Let's give you the Harvard business tip of the day. And the management tip today is ask yourself why you want to become a manager. Well, you know what? Becoming a manager is a huge change in your role. Some newly promoted leaders excel, but others wonder what they've gotten themselves into. If you're ambivalent about making the leap to manager, here's what to consider. First of all, count the cost. Taking on new responsibilities will require you to give up old ones. Are you willing to rethink your relationships with your former peers? To consider the bigger picture in all situations. Listen to your fears. Worrying about failure or criticism is normal. If you aren't afraid, you shouldn't be trusted with leadership. But how do you deal with fear? Do you acknowledge it without giving into it? Or do you bury it beneath a brash show of confidence? And then finally, check your motive. Are you driven by ambition or contribution? By looking good or doing good? A manager's job is to support her team or his team, not to guard his or her power jealously. Give it a thought. Management's a big deal. It really is. Well, it's time for that secret daily teaching for your life. You've heard me talk about it. It's all about a positive mental attitude. And here's the secret for today. Your life is in your hands. No matter where you are now, no matter what has happened in your life, you can begin to consciously choose your thoughts and you can change your life. There's no such thing as a hopeless situation. Every single circumstance of your life can change. It's all about a positive mental attitude. Guaranteed. It works, folks. Don't laugh at it. It really, really works. Now, you know what today is? Sure you do. It's January the 6th. It's Wednesday, and it's somebody's birthday. Okay, so we're going to celebrate birthdays, some of them old, some of them not so old, but this particular birthday, this person was born in 1412. That's a long time ago. Died in 1431. So, a short 16 years later. And here's the deal. National heroine of France and a Catholic saint. A peasant girl, she led the French army to several important victories during the 100 Years' War. It's happy birthday, Joan of Arc, Saint Joan of Arc. And born in 1955, a comedian, actor, and writer famous for his work is Mr. Bean. Happy birthday, Rowan Atkinson. And then finally, born in 1970, a professional volleyball player, sports announcer, and fashion model. She's married to surfer Laird Hamilton. Happy birthday, Gabrielle Reese. Yeah. Now, what happened today in history? Can you guess? Well, here it is. January 6th, 1929. Mother Teresa arrives in Calcutta to begin her work amongst India's poorest and diseased people. And in 1974, in response to the 1973 energy crisis, daylight savings time commences nearly 4 months early in the United States. And then finally, you may or may not remember this, in 1994, Nancy Kerrigan is clubbed in the knee at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in Detroit. Well, our quote for today comes from Aaron Rose, and Aaron says, "In the right light, at the right time, everything is extraordinary." Now, isn't that a fact? You better believe it. Now, speaking of facts, let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We've got a number of them. I love this part of the show. I hope you do too. Did you know India has over 50 million monkeys? Wow. Do they eat monkeys in India? I know they do in part of Asia, but who knows? Did you know what approximate number of facial expressions dogs can make? Yep, about 100. Didn't know that, did you? Well, as pure gold is very soft, it is often combined with other things when making jewelry. You don't usually get pure gold in jewelry. How about this? The longest time someone has typed on a typewriter continuously is 264 hours. That was set by Violet Gibson Burns. Yeah. Did you know that money is not made of paper? It's made of linen. Yeah, well, they call it paper money, don't they? Yeah. Well, nowadays it's plastic money more than they'd rather, right? The world's largest burrito weighed 4,217 pounds. That's kind of interesting. Can you imagine eating that sucker? Oh, that'd probably feed a town or a small town or a village anyway. Let's see here. Did you know that 111,111,111 times 111,111,111 equals a number so damn big I'm not even going to bother trying to tell you what it is. Let's see if I can figure it out. 1,000, million, billion, trillion, quadrillion. So it's 12 quadrillion, 345 trillion, 774 billion, 987 million, 654,321. Now, why that's important, I have no doggone idea, and that's a hard number to figure out to give. How about this? Elephants are the only animals that cannot jump. Probably caused an earthquake. They probably think it was North Korea setting off another phony hydrogen bomb. Let's hope it was a phony one anyway. Let me give you one more. There are 3,900 islands in the country Japan. The country of islands, yes. And let's give you one more. American Airlines saved $40,000 in 1987 by eliminating one olive from each salad served in first class. Wow. Give that a thought. And I'll leave you with this one. Smiling releases endorphins in the body, which makes people feel better. So, folks, smile. It makes everybody feel better, including you. Now, don't go away. We're going to go for a short commercial break. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails. The first one, we're going to talk about from Naomi De Leon from Atlanta, Georgia, asking about worthless securities. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. So don't go away, folks.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics, where we're coming down to the wire on the show. And it's time for me to answer your emails, but I want to remind you that this is an entertainment part of the show, and we do our best to give you comprehensive answers to your questions. But, sometimes the information you send us is just a little bit sketchy, so we always encourage you to talk to a licensed professional. They're always going to save you more money than they cost you, and the truth is they're going to give you peace of mind and allow you to sleep at night. Because one of the requirements of them having a license is that they have errors and omissions insurance. It's the same thing as malpractice insurance. It means if they make a mistake, they pay, not you. That's a good enough reason for you to be interested in doing that. So give that some thought. Well, as I said before the break, our first email comes from Naomi De Leon from Atlanta, Georgia, asking about worthless securities and writes, I was tricked into buying $10,000 of stock in a company that proved to be a scam. Can I take this as a worthless securities capital loss that I can deduct against capital gains? Well, Naomi, the answer to your question is yes, but You may do better by taking a theft loss deduction if this is considered a theft under state law. Now, a theft deduction is allowed to the extent that your loss exceeds $100 and to the extent that this excess, when combined with all other theft and casualty losses, exceeds 10% of adjusted gross income. Let me give you an example of that. The theft is your only loss and your AGI, or adjusted gross income, is $40,000. Your deduction is $5,900. That's $10,000 minus the 100 minus the 4,000. That's where we got it. In contrast, a capital loss offsets capital gains with no more than $3,000 net loss deductible against ordinary income and any excess carried forward to the future. Now, next email comes from Sarah Finn from Colton, Ohio, asking about solo 401k plans and LLCs, and writes, would the solo 401k retirement plan apply for a one-person limited liability company or an LLC? So, Sarah, the solo 401k is simply a 401k plan with only one participant. A fairly recent tax law changes made it available as a new option to business proprietors who previously had to use Keogh plans or other retirement savings vehicles. If a business that has a solo 401k plan hires additional employees, they must be covered by the plan in accordance with 401k non-discrimination rules. Now, a one-person LLC typically is taxed by the IRS as a proprietorship, making it able to use the solo 401k like any other proprietorship. But 401k rules are complex, and LLC rules vary by state. So check with a local expert. You really need to do that. Next email comes from Kyla Goff from Erling, Iowa, asking about savings bond interest, and writes, I know that I can report interest earned on Series EE and Series I savings bonds annually instead of all at once when I redeem the bonds. How do I find out how much interest a savings bond earns each year? And how do I avoid being double taxed when I redeem the bonds, since I get a 1099 showing all of the interest paid on them at that time? Well, here's the deal, Carla. To learn how much interest a bond pays annually, go to the Treasury Direct website at www.treasurydirect.gov and use either the Savings Bond Calculator or Savings Bond Wizard, or just download Form 3501. That's comparison of year-end Series I, EE, and E savings bond redemption values. Now, to avoid double taxation when you redeem a bond, simply report the year's interest on it under the annual method and add a note to your return explaining the difference between that and the 1099 amount. Now, for more details, go to IRS Publication 550. That's Investment Income and Expenses. Hopefully, that's helped you out. Now, last email comes from Thomas Grisco from Houston, Texas, asking about cash rewards, and says, are cash rewards that I get from my credit card taxable to me? My credit card company gives me a percentage of my total charges each month in the form of a check. Well, Thomas, good news. The answer is no. Cash rewards received for using a credit card are tax-free to the card owner who receives them. The IRS considers such cash rewards to be a price discount and a promotional or volume discount off the price of a product or service is always going to be tax-free. So that's good news for you. I think you'll be glad that you know that. Well, I want to thank you for listening to Robert Cardoza Live at the intersection of business and politics. Robert Cardoza Live broadcasts on Spreaker Radio, Roar, 1776 Radio, MyCast Live Radio, and countless terrestrial stations worldwide every Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We're also on 405 Media Radio Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Pacific Time, and the Pundit Press, PNN, Talk Radio, and SHR Media Radio with John Matthews and the Conservative Syndicate every Monday and Friday from 3:30 p.m. to 4 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, please follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Periscope Video, LinkedIn, Google+, Podomatic, and YouTube, where you can listen to all of my shows 24/7. Go to my website at www.robertcardozalive.com and email me at robertcardozalive@gmail.com. On my next show, Tomorrow, you're going to hear Sean LaFave, and he and I are going to discuss world issues, healthcare, and weight loss. Please tell all of your friends about my show here at the RLC Broadcasting Network.
Show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.
Okay, everybody, that's a wrap. I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I enjoyed producing it for you. Don't forget to join me again tomorrow for another installment of Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific Time. We're on a number of stations, so just follow us there. I want you to be really, really careful today. If you live here in California, the rain is really hitting us. No matter where you're at, it's slick roads and it's dangerous. Be careful. I want you to be happy. I want you to be safe. I want you to make everybody's life better because you're in it. Good night, everybody, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.